Okay, so for the neckline, we need 2 pieces cutting like this, and I'm going to give you the measurements in a little while. I'll just show you what this neck is going to come like. This is a lining piece, okay, and basically this is going to get attached to the fabric as additional lining, and it's going to be like this, like a stand-up collar type of neckline at the back. Okay, and that's what it's going to end up looking like. But this is the lining, and on top of this is going to be this fabric. Now for this fabric, obviously I've cut the neck and I need that high stand collar, so I've cut 2 additional pieces going in the same direction, and I'm just going to seam those onto here so that they can form the inside of it. So for this, what we need is 2 additional piece of fabric out of this. Okay, and this is the as much close-up replica as I could find. So you need to basically fold your fabric, and you can cut double the amount of this using a single fabric. Now I've already cut this so that it's easier to understand what I'm doing. So make sure grain line and double fold it, and the double fold of this fabric, what I'll do is I'll cut this away so that it's easier to see. So I'm gonna cut this 8 inches, mark this out, so 8 inches by about 24 inches. So 8 inch by 24 or 25 inch piece. I'll do it 25 just in case we don't want to end up running short. This is folded in half, so that it's easier to follow. So okay, so we've got a piece of fabric measuring, and make sure that's folded and lying square. Now on top of that, we're going to cut, and I'm going to give you the markings for this exactly. So what I would suggest is take a pen and paper and jot these down, and then use them accordingly. Okay, now it might help using one of these. Okay, and using one of these, we're going to use this on the inside of the neck, and I'm going to give you the measurements that are from that point to that point, and that point to that point, and then the excess that we're going to take away. Okay, and then also this marking, that marking, and that marking. So I'm going to give you exact markings as we're going along. So the length of this fold up to the fold is 8 inches. So measure 8 inches and mark off at 8 inches. And then from that 8 inches, you want the curve ruler placed on at the point of 52, and here on the fold, you want it at 55. Okay, so you want 55 point here, and 25. So on the one side we've got 25, and on the other side we've got 52, and then you want to mark along on the curve, exactly the shape of the curve. So once you've marked it off at the shape of the curve, you should have something looking like this. I'll need you to be quiet for a minute, okay?
I need you to watch until after Zuhr.
No, that's fine. I'll be down in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm just to be downstairs anyway.
All right.
I've got to dash the shop of horses on the road.
All right, that's fine. Okay. So here you want to place on 43, and you want this going up to 25, and you want that curve marked. Okay, so we've done it up to there, and then see if we can then place it on. Well, you know what, this really doesn't matter how you go about doing this, because this is just the inside of the lining. Okay, so basically you just want about 4 inches going all the way across. The bottom curve is the only one that we want to measure right, but then from there you just want it like an equal length going all the way across up to where you've marked. If you've marked it okay, from the bottom here upwards, you need to measure up approximately 17.5 inches, and you need to mark off. And then from that point you need to go inwards 4 inches at a slight bit of an angle and mark it off. Then you want to measure 2.25 inches from there and mark off, and this you want the length of 6 inches, and then 2.25 inches, and then that point just meeting up. So you want to just take all this excess away. And that basically is the neck. Now what we're going to do with this is, on these pieces I'm going to iron on some Wonder Web, okay, just so that it stabilizes this fabric. This fabric is very, very fine and it'll fray very easily. So what we're going to do is iron on some Wonder Web just along the corners. Once I've added the 2 pieces that I need, additional pieces that I need on top of there, and then I'm going to press this on the back of this, lay it on and just press it into place so that this fabric is stabilized. And then we're just going to stitch around the edges of that, so that when I'm stitching, fine stitching on top of that, the fabric is stable enough. And you know, the fraying, that stabilizer will stop the fraying. Now I could have stuck the stabilizer directly onto this, but the problem is that this fabric is fine, and you will see the reflection, white reflection of the stabilizer. So that's the reason why we're using the fabric. This is a slightly stiffer fabric, and I'm using the fabric to stabilize this fine fabric so that the neck has a little bit of stiffness in it and it holds. Okay, so that's the whole point. So we're going to use, these are 2 cut up pieces that I'm going to use as the stabilizers, and then this one is the one that we're going to use for lining. So once this is stuck to this, we're going to stitch the inside of this with this and the fabric of the dress, and that way it will hold itself, and hopefully then on top of that we're going to apply the lace and so on. So we'll come back to the stitching of the neckline on this once I've done my duty as babysitting the grandchildren.